we have our blueberry world with our turtle that goes get them. You add 1 to the score every time you eat one. But we want to make this a little bit more exciting, because every time these stupid floor blueberries are in the same spot. And that's because of this code right here. We're adding our blueberry to here, 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 and here every time. So we're going to create some random blueberries here. And we're going to do this with a loop. So one of the most basic types of loops in Java is where you have a while loop. So while this is true, it's going to run this code here. And the way I'm going to structure this is using an integer, which is going to count equals 0. And then we're going to say count equals count plus 1, while count is less than 10. So this loop is going to run 10 times. So I can change this to 4. We're going to have 4 times. And in here, we're going to add our new food object. But instead of adding 4 objects of food right on top of each other at coordinate 100, 100, and we'll see what that looks like. We have these 4 objects here, and we can actually confirm that it's 4 by putting the turtle over him, and our score will go to 4. What we can do instead is change these x and y values to be a little bit more random. So we have this really cool class in Java. We're going to create this class called random equals new random. This is an object of random. Cannot get the class random. So just go into here, import java.util.Random. Now it'll work. So what we're saying is that, you know how we import this Greenfoot dot? Well, that refers to, all of these things here. Package Greenfoot. We're importing a package called Greenfoot. Similarly, if we go into the Java doc for Java specifically, you can scroll all the way over to here and you say java.util.Random. It's here, trust me, it's here somewhere. Java.util. Open that up. Then we go into classes, and then we find our random class down here. And this is where we want to look. Creates a new random number generator. We need integers. So we're going to look down here in our Java doc, and we're going to try to find something that's going to return an integer. So this is an integer. But we want to find one that's a little better. This is the one. Right here. So I'm going to click on it, and we say that it gives us an integer, next integer. Returns a next pseudo-random, uniformly distributed int value, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Well, I don't want there to be 2 to the 32 possible values. So I'm going to look down here, and we can specify a bound, an upper limit that must be positive. So this is going to give us a cool value. You don't need to know exactly how this works. You can look through it if you'd like. But I'm just going to close that And then when we go into our world, we're going to have two variables here. So we're going to have int x equals random, dot, because we're referring to the class. And we remember we want this next int value where we put something in here. So let's change that to x. And then we'll see our food is going to be scattered along the 100. And then with different x values here. So they're all in parallel, different x values. Okay. We can do this again. They'll be in different spots and different spots again. So we see they move around. We can do the same thing for y. And we're getting these 600, 400 from up here. Now they'll scatter perfectly around the screen. Makes for a little bit more of an interesting game. But what if we wanted to change the size of the world around? This is going to mess us all up. So we can change this to get width, this one to get height, and we can go through here again. Get width, get height, and change all of these to get width, and then get width. Very nice. So now we can change our world to be twice as wide. Look, and it still works. I still like the 600. Goes right back to where it was, except for changing my window around. That was a little bit rude. I want this back. Thank you so much. So we're creating a new food object at this random location. And that changes every time. Very interesting. But I don't want these food objects to touch each other. These two are intersecting, and I don't like that. So rather than doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another condition inside of this while. So we say if we're going to say get the objects at, and then we're going to say x, and then y, which is where we're going to place them by any class. We're going to say food. And then, so this gives us a list of all the objects at where we're going to place the blueberry. That's a food class. So we're going to say, if there's already a blueberry at where we're placing it, and then we're going to say, if there's already one, if it's greater than 0, then we're going to add this object and increase the count. Otherwise, it failed. And if we increase this to a bigger number, say 20, we won't have any that touch each other. Oh. We won't have any that directly touch each other. See how they're all not perfectly on each other? So we have 200, and if we change this, we're going to just comment this out with 2 slashes. We got to get rid of the bracket 2. They're a lot closer together, some of them. So this is just a fun little thing to say, that they can't be on top of each other. We're going to add that object. I'm going to add 5 of them. So now we have 5 blueberries that aren't directly on top of each other in our world that we can go and collect. Here we go. That's that. But we just won the game and it didn't tell us. So we're going to fix that in the next episode.